Hello everyone. Let's review Shloka number 73 in Lalita Sahasranamam. Kāmyā kāmakaḻārūpā kadamba kusumapriyā kalyāṇī jagatīkandā karuṇārasa sāgarā. Let's take a look at the meanings. Before that, as a recap, we are looking at Devi in the Bija mantra, and we saw how she is the Hrim mantra, and last week we saw the benefits or what chanting Hrim mantra does to us. And we stopped it with she is Rama Ramana Lampada. That means she's always devoted to Shiva. So we'll start from that point. Let's look at the namas here. Kāmyā. Kāmyā is, kāma means desire and kāmyā means desirable. And we saw it was Ramana Lampata. Ramana is the husband and Lampata means devoted to her, always desiring for. So chanting the Hrim mantra creates a desire in us for the liberation. Shiva means liberation. So Kāmyā means desirable. And why do we desire her? Because she is representing liberation. Kāmakaḻārūpā. Kama again here means desire, and it represents Shiva. So Shiva is Kama, and we call Shiva as Kāmeshvara because he is the master of desires. He has mastered desire, and now we have this desire to be in union with that master of desires. So that's what the Hrim mantra creates. It creates a desire in us to move towards that liberation. Kala here represents Shakti. So she is the form of kāmakaḻā. That's what this means. That means kāmakaḻā is the union of Shiva and Shakti. So Mahatripura Sundari is nothing but the union of Shiva and Shakti. We've seen this in many ways, right? As the Kundalini energy, we always call that as Shakti rushing to meet Shiva. And in the Bindu, on the top, Mahatripura Sundari resides. And that Mahatripura Sundari, that Bindu, is the union of Shiva and Shakti. So that all the entire Sri Chakra then is created from that Bindu, right? It is the Bindu that's expanding that becomes the creation. So that means every single Shakti has come out of the Devis in the Sri Chakra have all come out of her, and she is the source of creation for this entire universe. So the kāmakaḻā, the union of Shiva and Shakti, is also called as the Sringāra Rasa. So that is the essence of this entire universe. So it's the union of Shiva and Shakti. So Kama is Shiva as Prakasha, and Kala is Shakti as the Vimarsa. So that's the kāmakaḻā, which is the union of Shiva and Shakti. So as Lalita Mahatripura Sundari, she is the union of Shiva and Shakti. Kadamba kusumapriyā. Kadamba kusumapriyā. Kadamba means the kadamba flowers, and they are all very fragrant flowers. They're used in the perfume. Kusuma means flower. Priya means one who likes. She's someone who's fond of kadamba flowers. kalyāṇī. Kalyāṇī means good fortune. Kalyanam means good fortune. Kalyāṇī is one who bestows good fortune. So we know she is a source of infinite compassion, and she is someone who is capable of granting us both the enlightenment as well as worldly enjoyment. So as part of worldly enjoyment, she grants us all the good fortune that we can have in this world. Jagatīkandā. Jagam, as we all know, is the world. Kanda means stem, or you can think as root. So we already spoke as kāmakaḻā, she is the union of Shiva and Shakti, and that becomes the essence of creation. So kāmakaḻā is actually represented as two triangles intersecting. Many of you may know we do this as a kolam in our puja rooms. It's one triangle and then the other triangle, inverted triangle on that. So the top one is called as Shiva, the Bindu, and the other 3 are supposed to be based off, or the inverted triangle is supposed to be based out of the Panchadasi mantra. And you all know how her face is the Vagbhavakuta, and neck from hip is the Madhyakuta, and then the final hip down is the Shaktikuta, and those also have representation in the kāmakaḻā. So, and it is also said that it is the sun becoming the fire and moon. That is another way to represent what's happening. But the lower triangle is the Panchadasi mantra, which represents the Shakti herself. So, and we all know from there originated the entire universe. So, therefore, she is the root of this world, or she is the stem of this world. If you think of this universe as a big tree with many branches and leaves, then it's the stem that's holding it up. So jagatīkandā means root of the world. Karuṇārasa sāgarā. Karuna, as we all know, is compassion. So karuṇārasam means she's an ocean of compassion. Sāgarā is ocean. She is an ocean of compassion. And we always know this. Lalita is always looking out for us, and we are her children, and she's always waiting to help us. I mean, she's not waiting to help us, waiting for us to reach out. As Meenakshi, she's scanning, and she's always looking to help us. So we covered all the namas meaning, and a short story to show demonstrates how compassionate Lalita is. So there was once in Kanchipuram a person who was a great astronomer and mathematician, and his name is Attavira, and his wife is Vidyavati. So Attavira and Vidyavati had a son whose name was Shankara. And life was going very well for them, but unfortunately for them, when Shankara was born, he was deaf and dumb. So he could not hear and he could not speak. And that was a big disappointment for them. But again, you know how people in those days are. They accepted this as God's verdict, and so they just moved on. And you know, in those days, the school was the Gurukulam mode, right? And then they'll all go to the Gurukula, and the way of teaching is by the Guru saying something, the disciple learns that, hears that, recites it, and then they correct it. That's how the learning goes. So for someone who's deaf and dumb, obviously that opportunity was completely not there. So he was not able to go to school. So, but Shankara is a very good child. And so now cannot speak, cannot hear, and now cannot go to school. So what happened? So Shankara's parents said, you know what, we are in Kanchipuram, every day you go to the Kamakshi temple. So Shankara started going to the Kamakshi temple every day, and just to make himself useful, he used to do a little bit of chores around the place. And then the priest also became very fond of this boy who was very nice and, kind, always helps out everybody. They know he cannot speak or hear, but he demonstrated kindness in the way he behaved. So every day Shankara will go to the Kamakshi temple, and then he'll sit there, he'll do the chores, what he wants to do, and then he'll sit there, and the priests have made it a habit to share the prasadam with him. And then Shankara will just sit there and keep looking at Kamakshi. That's all. That's how he passed his days. So day after day he was doing it. And then one day, as he was sitting there, and he always used to stare into Kamakshi's eyes, and that's the way. And mentally, he was always asking, why did this have to happen to me? Please, I want to be able to hear and speak. This was an intent, and anybody who's in that position would feel that. So he was feeling that. And one day, as he was looking at Kamakshi, suddenly he felt like Kamakshi's lips were starting to move. And at that time, when Kamakshi's lips were starting to move, without his knowledge, he just launched into impromptu poetry. And it was not something that he just 1 or 2 words. He actually composed 500 verses just like that. And all the priests around there were completely surprised, and he started speaking. They were surprised, and now this was this amazing poetry that was coming out of him. So they all quickly gathered around him, and they were very surprised by the 500 number. So that is called as the Muka Pancha Sati. So Panchasati means 500. So the Mukha Kavi, he's called as Mukha Kavi, and therefore the Mukha Panchasati is a very, very powerful 500 set of shlokas, and it is actually organized into 5 major chapters. And Mukha Kavi starts with the Arya Shatakam, where he talks about the greatness of Kamakshi, and then Padaravinda Shatakam, where they talk about the greatness of her lotus feet. And then there is also the Mandasmita Shatakam, which is about the beautiful smile that she has. And then they have the Kataksha Satakam, which is about the Kataksham means her compassion of her eyes. And just one look from her eyes can launch people into this kind of poetry. So that is there. And then the last one is the Stuti Shatakam, which is the praising of Kamakshi. So these 500 verses were composed by him, and it is said that after he composed this, he felt like that must have been the only thing that he ever says, and he doesn't want to say anything else, and therefore he retreated into silence after that. So hearing all of this, the 19th pontiff of the Kanchi Kamakoti Peetham realized that this Shankara was a blessed child and had the blessings and grace of Kamakshi, and therefore he reached out to his parents and asked them whether they were open to letting their son go for sannyasa, and the Mukha Kavi became the 20th Sankaracharya of the Kamakoti Peetham. He is called as Mukha Sankarendra Saraswati. So this is a real story that is documented, and such is the compassion of Kamakshi. And there is a saying there, when the God, bestows their compassion, the people who cannot speak can start speaking. Someone who's lame can actually climb a mountain. Such is the compassion of the gods, and Lalita Tripura Sundari is one such who is a ocean of compassion, and every now and then this comes true in real life for people like us to know and understand and follow in the bhakti path. That's all for today. Thank you.